Welcome to week 2 of Black Males Educate Intentional Talk. We're going to start out with a video that I watched a couple of days ago, and we talked about the Hodge twins, and they were talking about playing the Black National Anthem during the football season. So let's go ahead and watch this video. And the reason why I want everyone to watch this video is because I want to discuss it at the end of it. So let's watch the video and we'll talk about it when we get back.
Black National Anthem. We in Africa. You damn Africans done lost your mind. The Black National Anthem. I don't even think they got a Black National Anthem in Africa. You think so? What do you think? Man, that is simply ridiculous. Like Black National Anthem? Are you crazy? That's like when you have to come up with a Black National Anthem, it makes you think that there's a white national anthem. Yeah, that is a Latino national anthem, that there's a Native national anthem. Did y'all know the national anthem, the Star Spangled Banner? That's for everybody. It's supposed to be unifying. Yeah. When you come up with the Black National Anthem, that's kind of divisive. Yeah. It's just for black people. It's not unifying. Oh, I'm sorry. Not black people. African Americans. Yeah, they don't like to be called Black Americans. No, they want to be African Americans. I think they don't even want to be African Americans. They want to be Africans. Hate to break it to you, but you got a simple fix for that. You know you can leave. One way, hey, give me a one-way ticket to Africa. Hold up, man. We sound like some white supremacists. Stop being real. If you want to hold your allegiance to Africa, you want to be African, pick yourself up by your bootstrap. You can go back to the motherland. Hey, look here. Let's get back to the Black National Anthem. Now, in the NFL, for the first week of games, they're going to sing this before the national anthem. Now, if this is such a great idea, why don't you do it the whole season? Yeah, all 16 games. You can even do it for the Super Bowl. Black Lives Matter, right? I mean, if Black Lives Matter, why are you only doing it for 1 week? Sounds like Black Lives don't matter to me. You're just doing it for 1 week. You know why? They know it's a horrible idea. They'll forget the first week of the season. We got 15 more games of the Super Bowl left. We can recover. Man, this is a horrible idea. And everybody, if you go look up the history of this Black National Anthem, it was never meant to be called the Black National Anthem. Yeah. This song was actually written to celebrate Abraham Lincoln's birthday. Yeah. White dude. Yeah. He was president. He freed the slaves, you know. He was Republican. Yeah. You know that statue y'all defaced? Y'all tried to rip down? Yeah, that dude. Now, the NAACP back in 1919, they actually coined the phrase, this is the Black National Anthem. Now, back in 1919, believe it or not, the NAACP was a legitimate organization. It was fighting systemic racism in this country. But now, they're just around today to keep racism alive. You know why, don't you? Because without racism, they ain't got no job. That's why they keep it around. They unemployed. I think it's a really disservice to this song because anybody, I challenge you to Google this song, the lyrics to the song. It is a beautiful song. It's a Christian song. Yeah. But to call it the Black National Anthem, that is such a disgrace. Yeah. If I'm in a basketball game or a football game and you call it the Black National Anthem, I gotta take a knee. I gotta take a knee because you call it the Black National Anthem. That's divisive. Many would argue that that's Jim Crow all over again. Yeah. Many would argue that that's segregation, and I'm not with that. I gotta take a knee. I'm all about unifying. If y'all want to do something separate, but you could have did like what Ray Charles did, America the Beautiful. Yeah. Everybody said they should make that the national anthem. But even then, I wouldn't call his version of America the Beautiful the Black National Anthem. America is supposed to be a unifying thing. Yeah. You know what you could have named this song? Keeping America Great Again. That would have brought everybody together. Or Make America Great Again theme song. Because that song is beautiful. And you to call it the Black National Anthem, that's just not right, man. That's not unifying. A national anthem is supposed to be meant for everybody. Now you gotta come up with the Native American national anthem. Now you gotta come out with the Asian. Hey, don't forget the gays, man. Oh, you gotta get one for the what you call them, transgender? Transgender community, because you gotta come up one for the bisexual community. Yeah, see what I'm saying? It's divisive. We should have one song that's unifying. The Star Spangled Banner, the national anthem. Yeah, it stands for all of us. Yeah, did y'all know that? You call it the Black National Anthem. That is just so disrespectful to the man who wrote that song. It's disrespectful to our country, and it's really disrespecting black folks because it's making them feel like they're not part of America. That's the intended purpose. That's why they call it the Black National Anthem. Do y'all realize that? Hey, black people, I'm talking to y'all. They playing y'all, man. They manipulating y'all, man. They using your pain and suffering to divide us. Yeah. That's what they doing. Yeah, that's why I can't get behind Black Lives Matter, because as a concept, you can't stand behind, you know, Black Lives Matter. But that organization is not intended to help black people. Yeah. It's intended to enslave black people's minds, to make them think that their life is less valuable than a white person. Yeah. They point out BS statistics that's not even relevant to the people that losing their life to, let's say, what do you call it, to the hands of a white police officer. Yeah. They're not going to tell you most people, black men dying at the hands of a police officer because they're violent. They're just going to say it's because of their skin color. It has nothing to do with them beating the shit out of the cops. It has nothing to do with them trying to grab their guns. No, he killed him because he was black. It's a lie. Yeah, the common denominator in all these police brutality that's been going on in this country, every common denominator is this: they're aggressive. Yeah. They fight the cops, they punch the cops, they resist arrest, every single instant. I'm telling you like this: to every black American that has lost his life at the hands of a white cop, a black cop, or anything, if you just exercise just a little personal responsibility, don't drink and drive, don't resist, don't fight the cops, do what's right, obey the law. 99.99% of all these fatal shootings by cops wouldn't even happen. Black National Anthem. What a disgrace to this country. Oh, I'm telling you, I'm taking a knee. Not because I don't think it's a beautiful song, it's because the title of that song is so disgraceful to those lyrics. I'm taking a knee. And you know what? I'm going to hold up a sign that says, "All lives matter," while I'm doing it. You're taking it too far. You're going to... I don't care. It's time for us to take a stand, America. Yeah. Go to officialhodgetwins.com.
So, we back on?
Yeah. So let me go ahead and start by saying the Hodge twins, they started out as, you know, comedians. So for people that do know the Hodge twins, they know that, you know, they do a lot of stuff as, you know, comedy or sketch comedy or whatever. So let me just state some facts first. So they stated that, you know, let me start by saying this. All right, the Black National Anthem, or as everyone know, Lift Every Voice and Sing, was written as a poem in the 1800s by James Weldon Johnson. The poem was not written to celebrate Abraham Lincoln. It was performed as part of a celebration of Lincoln's birthday on February 12, 1900, by 500 school children at the segregated Stanton School in Jacksonville, Florida. So it was not written specifically to celebrate Abraham Lincoln. So let me say this. So they were correct when they said that that it was not written as the Black National Anthem. Just like the Star Spangled Banner was not written as the United States National Anthem. So the Star Spangled Banner was written as a poem by Francis Scott Key on September 14th, 1814. After he witnessed the British bombardment of Fort McHenry in Baltimore during the War of 1812. It was not until 117 years later that the poem was legally enshrined as the American national anthem in 1931. So just as Lift Every Voice and Sing wasn't written as the Black National Anthem, it was a poem that, you know, a lot of Blacks felt empowered by. Just like America, we feel empowered by the Star Spangled Banner. But here's something special about the Star Spangled Banner. So when we go to the third stanza of the Francis Scott Key's poem, and many people don't understand that there are 3 stanzas to the Star Spangled Banner. The national anthem only reads the first stanza. So when we read the third stanza, one of the lines in the third stanza states, "No refuge could save the hireling enslaved from the terror of flight or the gloom of the grave." Now, for anyone don't know what hireling means, hireling is a person that works purely for material reward. Understand that material reward that those slaves were working for was what? Freedom. All right. So the hireling and the slaves that he was referring to were colonial Marines, which were slaves that escaped to fight alongside the British for their freedom. So what are y'all thoughts on this?
I can start us off. So I am like, and I was talking to them, telling them earlier that the Hodge twins are their YouTube. I'm very used to watching. Like I told Tyron earlier, I watch them religiously, like watch their food reviews and all those things, and I understand they're comedians, and I can even understand joking about certain things, but the way that they're going about it, I feel as if they're making it a little bit more a political thing, more so than anything, making it feel as if, okay, this far left or really liberal thing is more of a brainwashing technique, and that's completely missing the point of the Black Lives Matter movement and just trying to have our voices heard as African Americans, as Black folks. I feel like they're missing the point completely and making it into a way to make a joke out of it. And I can understand comedy. I'm saying as a comedian, you're not supposed to say you're sorry about anything, but in this case, I feel like they really are missing the point of what the movement is about. And as Black folks themselves, I feel like they should have kind of that in touch. They should be more in touch, and I guess what's the word I'm looking for? More sensitive towards the matter, rather than making it seem like, oh, this means absolutely nothing. The NFL is trying to do their best to say, okay, how can we take steps in the right direction with including the Black National Anthem, instead of looking at it as a way to saying, oh, no, this doesn't need to be in the NFL. This needs to be only thing that needs to be there is the national anthem. Well, this is the NFL's way of saying, okay, we're going to try our best to figure out a way to combine the cultures that we have here with predominantly all African-American, all Black athletes on the field. They're saying, okay, what's a way that we can make their culture, put the Black culture into our game that they brought so much to be a, and only thing that that's saying that, okay, it has no place. Well, if the national anthem was supposed to unify, well, we don't seem very unified. I'm saying you got individuals who don't want that unification to even happen. I'm saying we've all been on social media, Instagram, Facebook. There are people who do not want that unification that they spoke so highly about. They don't want it to happen. So if saying that, okay, we need to all be gung-ho about the Star Spangled Banner, and I love our national anthem. I really do. But but to say that, okay, we need to say, all right, no, don't put no Black National Anthem into this because it's breaking us apart, it's separating us more. Well, our Star Spangled Banner now isn't seeming to bring that unification. These same individuals who have such a problem with Black culture and anything being integrated into what's already kind of the American thought process, it seems to be taken as you almost have a fight back towards anything, any type of integration of Black culture. There's always some type of fight back. Nope, this can't happen. Nope, this can't change. So I really think they took the wrong approach about it, personally.
All right, so I want to hear Corey's perspective on this, and then we're gonna we got to move on because we have two, officers that's waiting to join us. So, Corey, what is your thoughts on this?
Yeah, I'll keep it quick because I know we got to move on. I mean, kind of like what Quayne said, they're comedians. So, I mean, at the end of the day, I mean, they were trying to be funny. But at a time like this and with an issue as deep as this, this is one of those things that, it's almost like one of those touchy subjects. And, they really made a joke out of something serious. And, in my opinion, when you think back to like Colin Kaepernick and the stand he took and, people still don't quite get it. Well, now the NFL is like, okay, well, let's do something. It's almost like the NFL is trying to fix it. And then, when you got a league with, all these Black players, and the fact that the NFL is trying now is amazing. But for these guys to just kind of, take it as a joke, for a lot of us, it's a slap in the face, especially coming from a person of color,
Absolutely.
And also, he talked about, something in the video. He was like how it's like, it's splitting us apart by calling it the Black National Anthem. I'm not seeing how, because kind of like what we talked about, when you looked at the national anthem, and what it stands for, this country's been divided. This country's still divided. So if somebody thinks that it's a good idea, such as the NFL, who has a lot of Black players, if they feel like doing something for Black people, it shouldn't be a problem with it, and it's not just the NFL. A lot of huge companies are trying to step out and about and support the Black people and support the Black movement. But I think it was almost a slap in the face because this was coming from people of color. And it seems as almost if they're not quite in touch with the movement, or they're just making a joke about something that's just a little bit too touchy of a topic right now. So that's just like a little quick take on it. Just a little quick take.
All right. And the last thing I want to touch on is when they stated that all people that have been killed, or all people that, and this is our segue that leads into our next segment. So it's really good. So one thing that really stood out to me is when they stated that everybody that died by the hands of law enforcement officers were all doing something wrong, all doing something illegally. They were all fighting, the cops, and this is why they get killed. And they say if you don't want to, pretty much if you don't want to die by the hands of the police, then you should do the right thing. Don't do drugs. So I'm gonna just give you I'm gonna just name a few people that died by the hands of police officers that were not aggressive, that were not doing anything wrong, or maybe if they were doing anything wrong, they still didn't deserve a death sentence. So I'm gonna start out with George Floyd. George Floyd was already in handcuffs, correct?
Correct.
When he had a knee on his neck. Breonna Taylor, she was sleeping in her own home, correct?
Correct.
Tatiana Jefferson shot through a window in her own home because her neighbor called the police. Not doing anything wrong, correct?
Correct.
Stephon Clark shot in his grandmother's backyard for holding a cell phone. Botham Jean shot on his sofa while he was eating ice cream. Philando Castile shot in his car while his girlfriend was in the driver's seat and his 4-year-old daughter in the back seat. Eric Garner choked to death for selling loose cigarettes. Tamir Rice, a 12-year-old boy playing with a toy gun. So these are just a few Black lives that was lost by the hands of police officers that were not doing anything really aggressive or that didn't deserve to die.
Right.
I don't care. To me, I don't care who you are as a person. That's why we have a judicial system. Let the law of the land, let the courts handle, sentencing. It's not the jobs of the officers.
Yeah, right. And kind of like what, well, absolutely everything what you said. Every single one of those cases, none of them deserve to die. And then like when you looked at how the country was in an uproar because of George Floyd, I mean, it's almost like these twins, the Hodge twins. It's like, how can they even say like if they followed all the rules and did this and did that, then they wouldn't have died? Well, you got all these other cases where they did nothing or something very minimal and still got killed. So that's like saying, oh, okay, so I mean, for me, it's almost like they had no remorse in a sense for the guy kneeling on George Floyd's neck for over 7-8 minutes. Yeah. I mean, it's almost like they're trying to water it down. That's just how I took it.
And to double up on that, then what I would rebuttal back to them is, what would you say about these other cases where the suspect or the individual is doing something, like where it happens to be a white suspect, he's wielding a knife at the cop, or he's trying to hit him with a car. I've seen so many videos where this individual is not Black, but restraint is taken in. They're handcuffing this person. They're tasing the person. They're sitting the person upright to make sure that they're okay. And they're doing things that are much, much worse. So I would love to ask them that question and rebuttal them with that and say, okay, well, these people, they're resisting. They're fighting back. They're doing stuff much worse, and they did not die.
Yep, and that's the only thing crazy. Yeah. It's like and like it's crazy because, like you said, I've seen countless videos. Like even thinking back to some of the protests, people protesting for haircuts. But now you got people protesting for them lives, and then when people protest for their lives, they still get shot with rubber bullets or beat up by the police trying to do peaceful protest. They're just chanting. But then people protest for haircuts, nothing goes wrong in the crowd. It's so crazy to me. It's so crazy to me. It's like these guys, they're almost. It's almost like they don't want to see the truth. That's just how I think.
All right, gentlemen. I know we can talk about this forever, and this is a hot topic, and we'll get back to this topic. But let's go ahead and bring our special guest on. All right, gentlemen. We have Mr. D.C. Watson. Mr. D.C. Watson is a 14-year veteran with the Illinois State Police. He served 12 years on patrol in the Chicagoland area, and he's now with the Division of Internal Investigations for Illinois State Police. We also have with us Mr. Officer Thurman Lofton, who's a retired first sergeant. He served in the United States Marine Corps for 22 years, did 3 combat tours. He also served 6 years he's serving 6 years as a police officer right now, and he's also a motivational speaker as well. So check out Mr. Lofton's Facebook page. And Mr. Lofton, before we go ahead and start talking, let's give everybody your page.
Okay, can everybody hear me?
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Man, this is my first time doing the Zoom, so you have to bear with me. What's going on, everybody?
How y'all doing, bro?
Not much.
My page is Motivation Moments with Thurman Lofton. It's on Facebook, as well as if you go to Spotify or any podcast. I also have a podcast. Just type in my name, Thurman Lofton, and I've started loading podcasts on there as well. So we got quite a few things that we're working on, but the main priority is right now is our communities.
Yes. All right, so let me just say, first of all, I just want to say thanks to both of you for taking out the time to, do this for us and be here with us. We know that, like I said, right now there's a lot of distrust with law enforcement officers, and this is locally and around the world in every state you can think about. There's a lot of distrust with police officers, and we were just speaking on the situation about how everyone wants to say that, a lot of Black people that's being killed by the hands of police officers are doing things wrong. But when it comes to me, when it comes to, officers apprehending white suspects, they know how to de-escalate a situation. But it's like when they apprehend a Black suspect, they escalate instead of de-escalating. So before we get started, first of all, I just want to get y'all perspective on the whole George Floyd situation and everything that's going on right now.
Go ahead, brother.
Let me tell you, the whole thing with George Floyd, and I'm going to shoot straight from the hip on this one, and in case anyone's watching, and I've talked with you, Tyron, about this one anyway, but I'm not at this point. I'm not representing any organization. This is Thurman Lofton, but I'm going to tell you straight up, that was wrong. That was wrong on so many levels. Should have never happened. There's no training nowhere. And I've said this on one of the motivational speeches. There's no training anywhere that teaches you to handle people like that, especially if they are already handcuffed. And if you look at the video, the doors to the patrol car were open.
Absolutely.
So if you have someone already subdued, get them in the car and get out of there. But what happened to George Floyd, it was totally wrong on so many levels.
I totally agree. I mean, what you saw in that video was grotesque. I think it was a lack of sympathy and empathy. I think it was just, the officer seemed unapologetic. It's almost like while he was kneeling, it was just like he had no care in the world, First year cop, no matter what department, learns simply when you get into altercation, a hand-to-hand combat situation with the individual, once the cuffs go on, the fight's over. There's no more fight.
Yep.
Everybody knows that. It don't matter if you patrolling in Chicago, Beaufort, Walterboro, it don't matter. Once the cuff go on, the fight's over. And so what we saw there was just a simple lack of sympathy and empathy. Typically you show those type of things when you deal with people who look like you. And perception, I was always taught perception of reality. And so people say oftentimes, like I just said, you show sympathy and empathy for people who look like you. I think if that would have been, and it's unfortunate that we have to go here and say this, but had that been a white person, he would not have kept his knee on his neck as long as he did. I'm not saying he wouldn't have done it because zebra don't change his stripes, but I can tell you he wouldn't have done it that long. Think about all of our situations when you come in contact with law enforcement. When you look in that side mirror or the rearview mirror and you see the person look like you, you're like, whoo, And so it's the same exact thing with this situation. Even being a 14-year officer, I've been stopped as an officer, and when I see, side mirror, like, whoo, unfortunately, we've gotten to that point in America, and we all feel comfortable when we see somebody look like us because in our minds we think that they can relate to us. It's all about relatability. When you can relate to somebody, like, okay, like when I see people from the South, I grew up in South Carolina, Walterboro to be exact. So dirt roads, drinking Kool-Aid out of mayonnaise jars and things like that. And, those things become relatable, you see? And I think that, in this situation, this guy didn't see himself in George Floyd. He just saw somebody who allegedly committed a crime. And therefore, he wanted to show that, I'm stronger than you. I'm bigger than you. I got more power than you. And unfortunately, Mr. Floyd lost his life.
Yeah. And the crime was not, it wasn't that serious
No.
to go that far. And I'm sorry, guys. When it comes to things like that, I grew up in the South. Eight of us, 8 children, and I grew up in the South, where, it was still during the time frame that we, black stayed over here and white stayed over there. I even experienced it in the military. I was told once by one of my sergeants who was white that on a working party told me that I was only a black Marine, told me that blacks don't ride in the cab of his truck. You get in the back.
Wow. Crazy.
Awesome. All right, so what I wanted y'all, that was one of the reasons why I wanted to bring y'all along, but I also want to talk about, my next question is, how do you think we can move forward with closing the gap between law enforcement and mostly our black communities? Because I know, like, to me, our black communities are over-policed. And a lot of our black communities also, the officers that serve our black communities, like Mr. Watson stated, that a lot of the officers that, I'm from Baltimore City, and a lot of the officers that I saw growing up did not resemble me. So like Officer Watson said, it takes, to me, if you're going to put officers in a community, they have to start resembling the demographics of that community. Or you're always going to have, high crime rates, or because a lot of officers take simple things, a counterfeit $20 bill, and make it extreme. Or even simple possession. Some officers, if you're from a neighborhood where the community, I'm not saying like it's illegal, but at the same time, it's certain simple things that we can do to say, you know what, you made a mistake, take a little dime bag of weed, put it on the ground, twist it, throw it away. So what do you think we can do in order to start bridging the gap between law enforcement and our communities to build that trust back?
I think one of the things that we got to do is we got to get us on the job. We got to get, unfortunately, a lot of us have been disenfranchised from the police department from various experiences, through our parents' experiences, through whoever. Just think about how many times you know somebody, when cops come up or a story about police officers come up, they start telling stories of negative experiences. And so you can hear my negative experience, and now you come disenfranchised with the police. So when you come in contact with the police officer that day, that month, you're now, you just substituted yourself in the situation that you heard about. And so now you got anger and animosity toward the police officer. I'm not saying it's not warranted, but what I'm saying is we have to get us on the job, meaning that when these, like, as many as officers are retiring because they don't want to conform to the reform that's coming, this is a prime opportunity where we can get ourselves on the job. Like this, in my opinion, this should be a rush of minorities trying to join these police departments, because we know how to police ourselves. You know what I'm saying? When I go in the community, when I go into any community, especially minority communities, and I see people who look like me, people doing things that I don't think is egregious or aggressive or warrant any police interaction, you just start interacting. You start interacting with them. You start talking to them. Hey man, how y'all doing? What's up? And now they know who you are. I am the only black state trooper who live in the county I live in. I'm the only black state trooper. Let me say that again. I am the only black state trooper who lives in the county. And so when somebody said the black state police officer, people are like, oh yeah, I know DC, because I'm the only one here. So with my 6'4" frame, people are easily identifiable. I got a bald head, so I mean black, so there's so many identifiers. But the point is, back to my original statement, we got to get them the job. We got to join these departments. We got to stop telling our kids and our young ones that when they say they want to be a police officer, nah, man, you don't be no police officer. F12. How many times have you heard that in the last 12, 14 weeks? What we got to understand is my department is one of the highest paid in the country. Not only do we, and so is there so many benefits that we got to start selling to our youth, to anybody who's looking for a job right now. We pay for your tuition if you want to go back to school. We start you off at $61,000 a year. We give you 3 pay raises per year. We get we got cost and living increases. We got clothing allowance. There's so many things that come with this job. We pay for your insurance depending where you go. So if you got 4 or 5 kids and a wife, we'll pay for all that insurance. It never comes out your check. So there's so many things that we have to. I mean, I just went off on a little bit of a tangent there, but what I'm saying is we got to get us on the job. We got to get us on the job.
Mm-hmm.
So, Thurman, you want to add to that, or?
Yeah. First, I was like, "Where you get paid $61,000 at? Where you at?"
Hey, man, Illinois State Police, man, we'll take you. Come on over, brother.
I was like, "Man, I'm doing the math in my head. Like, bro, they get paid like that." Man, I'm gonna say I'll tell you that it's when it comes to our communities, respect is a two-way street.
It is.
It's a two-way street, and as a police officer going into your communities, you got to respect the people that you serve.
Amen. And
what I mean by that is you got to do more than just roll through the neighborhood or hopefully not spotlighting people and stuff like that. But you got to actually get out there. And one of the things I found that the areas that I patrol, I'm not from there, but it's easier for people to talk to me because he looked like me. And I've heard that before. No, I ain't gonna talk to you. I'll talk to him because he looks like me. But it's all about respect. Respect is a two-way street. And getting out in the community and talking with people, especially the elderly people during these times of hurricanes, the storms that are going through. You get to know your community as a police officer. You got to check on them. You got to check on them. But sometimes, unfortunately, some of our elderly, they get left behind. That what I found from experience, and you never know who's watching you. Just stopping by and talking to Mr. Jones, for example, and just stopping in. Hey, Mr. Jones, how you doing? Just checking up on you, seeing how everything's going, and then just keep it moving. People see that. It's easy to just roll through a neighborhood and not stop. It's easy. But if you want the community to respect you, you got to get out there and you got to talk to. First of all, you got to respect the people that you're serving, and you got to talk to them. You got to talk to the community. And that's what's missing. That's what's missing. I don't know if it's this generation where I got a badge and I got a gun, they're going to do what I say. And I've told rookies this many times. Bro, I'm going to tell you something right now. I was born and raised in the projects, okay? Some people don't care nothing about your badge or your gun.
Not at all, brother.
It's about the respect that you show them. They know by the uniform or the vehicle that you drive what you represent. But you as an officer, you got to go into those communities. And I say this to any officer, you got to go into those communities and you got to get out that car or you got to roll that window down. You got to make contact. You got to make contact, not contact like, what are you doing while you're over here? You got to know who's in that community because that's what people want you to do, to roll through the community. Well, wait a minute. You get to know the community so well that, wait, hold up. That's Mr. Jones' house. He's used out of town on the weekend. Whose car is that? And people that they get to know you like, and I'll tell you, and I say this humbly to the point that people knew what car, even though we all drove the same car, but people knew my car. They knew that I was on duty because I did what I was taught by my father, show people respect. And they know that you got a job that you got to do. And even, guys that they on, on drugs. I've had guys tell me, hey, you got a job to do, and I got a job to do. And we always kept it mutually respectful like that. Like, okay, you got to do what you got to do. If I catch you, I got to do what I got to do too. But I ain't got to be mean and nasty. Exactly. You know what I mean? Yeah. I'll say this with the respect thing too. You have to look out for people when you can. Everybody don't deserve to go to jail. People got futures. Nobody's perfect. People make mistakes. I think the funniest thing I've ever done was, I ain't gonna say the dude's name to this day. I remember he was somewhere that he was not supposed to be, and his old lady was looking for him, and I dropped him off at his house. I think that's respect.
Exactly. and he'll always respect you for that.
Right.
No, he wanted to go to jail that night, but he rather just went to jail. I was like, nah, bro. She see me out here every day. You ain't get me mixed up. You ain't supposed to have been over here. So, man, bro, just take me to jail. No, she looking for you. You ain't no missing person. We're gonna drop you off at your house, and don't call me for no domestic violence, because you should have been at home and not, but it's all about respecting people, man, and that's what's missing, that two-way street, So you got the badge, you got the gun, you got a car, but you got to respect the community. You're supposed to serve this community. That's what that's what it's all about, serving the community. That's why you get in that job of serving the community. I don't know if it has anything to do with me being in the military before, but it's so simple of a concept to understand that you're here to serve you're here to serve this community. And you have to treat everybody the same. Everybody the same exact way, and understand that everybody, people make mistakes. If it's recoverable, then you help them. But if you can't, you got to do what you got to do. And people will understand that if you approach it that way.
And I like that you said about the respect thing, because I definitely agree. Like, I served 9 years in the United States Army, so I'm big on respect as well. And we're 3 Black male educators, but it's the same thing when we in education, because you have to respect all of these kids that you come in contact with, because like you said, our job is to serve. We're servant leaders, right? We're meant to serve. That's our profession. And I think education and law enforcement goes hand in hand, because it's truly a calling. And it's so many people that get into these careers that doesn't have the passion for it. A lot of, we look at educators and officers, some of them just, like you said, once they get that badge and that gun, it's, okay, I got beat up as a child, so now I'm going to, impose that on other people, or, I got bullied as a child. And these are things that actually goes on in their head, because now they see themselves as an authority figure. So I truly believe that it's about respect, and it's also about, building relationships. In anything is a must.
Yeah.
I'm asking questions, but I want my 2 brothers to chime in too, if they have any comments or.
Yeah. So I was gonna say.
Go ahead. All
right. Yes, I was gonna say what y'all 2 said as officers. Like how sometimes you go in and say if they doing something they're not supposed to do, you ain't gotta arrest them. You ain't gotta take them to jail. You gotta have a little simple conversation with them. Sometimes that's all it takes. Same thing like what we do is what me and my 2 friends here do as educators. I know for a fact. Just because a kid might do something bad, that don't mean that everything deserves a terrible, harsh consequence. That don't mean that I have to go and call a parent. So I think that, as far as like kids, I think that's one reason why the relationship is broken or it never gets built between teacher and the kid. The same way that some officers, they never can build that relationship with people in the community or people in general, because they don't even try to have a simple conversation to understand and just kind of even like look out sometimes, because I'm sure you guys, as officers, y'all got respect where y'all are. I'm sure a lot of people know where y'all are and like know who y'all are. But like you said, it comes down to respect, giving a chance, having a simple conversation. You don't have to be so harsh about everything. Everything don't deserve a harsh consequence. Some things are just a simple conversation makes life so much easier on both sides.
For sure. Hey, Tyron, did you have another question? Because I had a question.
Go ahead.
All right. So, Officer Watson, Officer Lofton. So I have a friend, real good friend. He's an officer as well, and I saw he posted maybe maybe like a week, maybe a couple of days after the George Floyd incident. And he was saying how others, acquaintances, and even some of his friends saw him in a different light. He's an excellent individual, awesome dad, awesome husband, a great guy all around. And just people around him were treating him different just because of what they saw another officer do and what they saw other officers do, whether it be on social media or just on TV and the news media itself. So with acquaintances that you come across or even friends, have your relationships been altered any since all of this has transpired?
For me, I got several instant messages or text messages. I didn't respond right away because obviously, as an African American, this doesn't come off like you all. This stuff doesn't come off, man. You don't get home at the uniform, take the uniform off. I can't take this off. And so obviously, I was filled with a bunch of emotions. The emotions go back a little way, not just George Floyd. I mean, there's several incidents that you've seen across the country on news stations that you're like, man, why did he do that, bro? Like, that man didn't have to die. That wasn't a death sentence. And so with the George Floyd incident, I didn't respond right away because I was all over the place with my emotions, man. I mean, I was hurt. I felt some type of way, man. I'm like, man, this is my profession. And one fool can set us back 10 years off one incident, and so, but when I did comment, in between me commenting, everybody like, I'm waiting on your comment. I'm waiting on to see what you got to say about this because, a lot of people who are not police officers, they want to see as just quote unquote, are you one of us still? Have you gotten the badge and has the badge gone to your head? And so people don't understand the fight that we are fighting within law enforcement. But when I did comment, man, I got so many, actually my first comment, it actually started going viral. I had to delete it because I was like, man, I didn't expect it to take off the way it did. But I have not seen anybody shun me. Now, there are some people who, if I got on my thread and said some things like, man, want me to go blue lives over black lives when it's all, and so, once I clap back with them once or twice, clap back, as they say, I stand my ground, and I got to explain to them. Sometimes I can't be as aggressive as I want to be because of the situation. So sometimes I got to be more articulate when I don't want to be. I just want to be like, you want to come off and be aggressive, like, man, who you think you're talking to?
Right.
But at the same token, I'm a professional, and so I decided to just take a articulate approach and took some time, talked to my wife. She helped me formulate my opinions, and I just communicated back, and it seemed to be the right response. So I have not lost any friends. Everybody knew who I am. It's all about being right. If you're right, you're right. When you're wrong, you're wrong. I don't care if you're a police officer. Like right now, I'm internal affairs. That's what I do. You know what I'm saying? So it doesn't matter. If you're a police officer, you do something wrong, and your name comes across my desk, it's just what it is. I'm not saying, okay, it's just what it is. You did what you did. Like my man just said, Officer Lofton just said, you did what you did. Now I got to do what I got to do. I'm not going to smear or tarnish my reputation or my family last name because of, the blue line, so to say.
I like that. I like that.
Yeah.
It's a character thing. It's all about having a high character. Awesome.
Yeah. I definitely it is a character thing. The whole with the George Floyd, not just that one, not just George Floyd, but Breonna, all of them, all of the cases of systemic injustice, the wrongful taking of a life. It took me a while, and it still is. It took me a while to kind of control my emotions about it, because whether at the beginning and end of the day, I'm a black man. I'm a proud black man. Whether I wear a badge or not, I'm still a black man at the end of the day. So it took me a while to kind of control my emotions about it. I will say, as far as the job that I work at, it is great because the chief that we work for, we kind of served together in the Marine Corps. So there was no real changes or relationships lost there, especially when when you see your chief going out to support people that are peacefully protesting, it says a lot. That says a lot. Especially when I'm asking, hey, sir, where you going? I'm going to go around here and check on the protesters to see if they need anything. Yeah, whatever I'm doing, I guess I better get my butt out there too. But it was his example that showed that, there was no awkwardness. You know what I'm saying? Where, okay, well, how is he going to feel about this? Because, that happened to somebody that's black. He's black. Is he going to come to work? No, I was fortunate to not have that experience. As far as people I come in contact with in the general public, there's some places that I stop each morning, or I make a stop just to check on, people, whether they're homeless. I know where our homeless people hang out. I'll stop and hey, what's going on, man? You ate today? Nobody has treated me any different since then, or kind of like approached me like, okay, is he going to feel some kind of way because this happened to George Floyd? Is he going to change? I've been fortunate to not have had that experience, and it goes back to the character where people know you and they know what you're all about. They know, as we say, they know I'm a real dude, and they know that I'm all about the people. So I haven't really had anything, but emotionally, I'm gonna tell you, it is what it is, man. When you see that, I still ain't watched the whole video because it ain't right. More I think about it, man, yeah, it ain't right. It just ain't right.
I would say this too, before we move on. Even if somebody did this, or somebody had a problem with me, or somebody got a problem with, or I got a bunch of negative rhetoric sent toward me. People want to vent, man. And so as a police officer, we have to be cognizant of what's going on around us in the climate. People are upset, people are angry. So if I met somebody and they found out I was a police officer and they start cursing me out, I'm not gonna give them a reaction. Actually, I'm just gonna let them vent. Because at the end of the day, I can only, as a police officer, I can only reach one person at a time unless there's a major incident. So I have that understanding. When that person gets through venting and he runs out or whatever the case may be, that's my opportunity to reach that person. Hey, again, go back to sympathy, empathy. Man, I feel what you're saying, brother. I feel the same way. And then now you just made an ally. You see what I'm saying? And so we got to understand, just like a teacher, when a kid goes through a traumatic experience or have some type of experience at home, and then he sees you three in a positive light, and you let him, he's acting out, and everybody deems him as a problem child, but then you get your hands on him and you say, he's not a problem child. He just needed he needed to vent. It's the same thing in law enforcement. We have to be able to identify when somebody needs to vent, and when they vent and they get off their chest, they feel better. So it's the same thing.
Yes.
All right, so let's move on. I appreciate that question. Good question, Queen. But let's move on. And I know there's a lot of tension, and to me, a lot of things happen since social media. And one of those things is we're allowed to see things like the George Floyd situation, but it's also this Me Too movement where everybody sees social media and they have the idea that, it's okay to, disrespect law enforcement officers. And I'm not saying that everything that happened, when a black man dies is because they were disrespectful to the law enforcement officer. But I like something that Thurman said it's about respect, and it goes both ways. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So what kind of advice would y'all give people when they're stopped by the police?
I tell people all the time, man, comply. And so again, I am a special agent with the Division of Internal Investigation of Illinois State Police. And so it's my job, when I say comply, I mean do what he tells you to do, because police officers are governed to the point, if he thinks he's doing right, even though he may be doing wrong, he still can act in whatever. So if I need to use force, even though I'm wrong, I need to use force to get my act across, to fulfill my duty. I can do that even though I'm wrong, because he thinks he's right. And so that's where I come in as an internal affairs or Division of Internal Investigation. I go through that video of that officer and I critique him, and I find policy violations. I find civil rights violations. And so what I'm telling you is to comply and rely on someone like myself who has a bunch of enthusiasm to come, but you got to file a complaint. If you felt or you feel that you were done wrong, you file your complaint. A person in my capacity then looks at the video, then we critique it, and then if the officer's done something that he has no business, then we go after him. You see what I'm saying? But to fight an officer on the road is absolutely wrong. It's like going to the jungle and fighting a lion. You don't go in the jungle and fight the lion, you know. And when you do, there's tons of video to show that the human is not going to win, you know.
Absolutely.
And so I often say comply. And if you know, if he does something, he or she does something that has no business, then rely on someone like myself or my division or an entity like mine at your particular department to do the right thing.
Awesome. Mr. Thurman?
Yeah, I would definitely say just comply. There are policies and there's policy statutes that are put in place that holds the officer accountable. And as DC says, if there's something that was done or said that you just don't sit right, you can file a complaint, because there's always somebody that you work for. There's somebody above you, supervisor or what have you, that if something's just not going right, you can request a supervisor. If something just doesn't feel you don't feel right, you can request a supervisor. You can file a complaint. But the number one thing is to comply. So if it's something simple as a traffic stop, okay, all right, just comply with it, and then go from there. But if there is something that's just not right, as DC said, you know, you can file that complaint. That is your right as a citizen to file that complaint and have your voice to be heard on what happened. Most agencies, some agencies have body cameras, some agencies don't. But that's something that's a policy thing that, according to the complaint, that can be reviewed to see what happened. So it's not a, you know, my word against yours type deal. And I'm sure it's not like the officer's word against the citizen, but what was on that body camera is the truth, is what really happened.
I think that one of the problems that people, our community at least, because the white community, they have no problem filing complaints. You know, like they felt they were doing wrong. And I think in the African American community, we either believe that the complaint won't go anywhere, or we just don't want to take the time to file a complaint. And nowadays with most departments, you can go online and download the complaint form, fill it out, put the allegation in, go get it notarized, and then turn it back in. That's as simple as that. But if you think about some of the situations that we've seen, if a lot of the individuals would have just, you know, okay, all right, yes, sir, you're right. I'm not saying say yes, sir. I just say yes, sir a lot. But yeah, you're right. Okay. And then at the end of that stop, go file a complaint. I mean, because if a complaint is never filed on a bad officer, he goes 10, 15 years, we're getting accommodations instead of those complaints, he's looked upon as a rock star in that department. But the whole time he's been getting complaints, but nobody's ever filled out the complaint form. And so that might be a good Zoom meeting that we can do for the public, is we got to show our public how to go online or go to that department and fill out a complaint. Even when you go to that department and the person at the front desk telling you, I'll talk to them, don't worry about it. No, sir. I want a complaint. I want to get the form in my hand. I want to file a complaint. I want to turn it back in. Because again, if we don't file a complaint, this officer, if he's a bad officer, look at Chauvin, the guy who killed George Floyd. He had 22 complaints on his file. He should have been fired a long time ago. But unfortunately, he wasn't. And I know people say, well, he had 22, so what would it matter? Okay, imagine if he didn't have 22 and this happened. You know what I'm saying? They would look at him as, okay, let's give him his job back. But because he had 22, that was his, all that give precedence to what he did in this case with George Floyd. So fill the complaint out, comply. There's certain things that you got to do when an officer comes to your car, or what he should do. How you doing, sir? My name is Trooper Watson, Illinois State Police. The reason I'm stopping you is such and such and such. Stop being antagonistic. And when somebody comes to your car, you know why I stopped you? And if I got to tell you why you stopped me and take the ticket once you issue the ticket, come on, man, I ain't got time for it. Tell me why. The officer should tell you why he stopped you, his department, the reason for the stop, and the disposition. That's simple. I stopped over 10,000 cars, man. I never shot nobody. You know what I'm saying? So because people, hey, how you doing, sir? This is who I am. This is my department. This is this is what's gonna happen. And I'm gonna get you out of here, okay? Bam, you out of there. People want transparency, man.
Absolutely. I definitely believe in transparency, and that's one of the things I was about to rebuttal. Like, there are so many cops that antagonize or make the situation worse as soon as they approach the vehicle or as soon as they stop the suspect. Like, I don't want to play a guessing game and guess why you stopped me. Like, if you stop me, just come and tell me, you know, why you stopped me, and then we can move on with the situation. Like, so many cops out here, and I don't know, like, if it's department-wise or, like, you know, certain departments that are taught that way, but don't ask me, do I know why you stopped me? No, I don't know, but you can tell me. So I think that's part of the problem too, and that creates that tension between, you know, that officer and that person in that vehicle as soon as the situation occurs.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
It's unnecessary. Unnecessary.
All right.
But
So
it's outdated. It's outdated practices. Not to cut you off, Ty. It's just outdated practices, and unfortunately, law enforcement is light years behind where we should be.
Absolutely. So I have one more question that I want y'all to answer because I want to be respectful of everyone's time. So, and this is something that I disagree with, and I don't know if my brothers online agree, but a lot of people are calling for defunding of police departments. Now, I disagree with defunding police departments because I don't care what type of situations are going on with the police departments. There still needs to be, first, I think there still needs to be law and order. And I still think that instead of defunding the police departments, let's talk about some, you know, different training courses and how we can create and make better police policies within these departments. So what do y'all say to people who are pushing to defund these police departments?
I personally don't take it as an indictment. People, like I say, people are hurting right now, man. So people are, defunding seems to be the word. So you're gonna hear a bunch of defunding the police department. If we go back and think about what happened during the recession around 2008, unfortunately, police departments or other agencies took some hits financially. And so as a result, a lot of your mental facilities and other facilities who help people closed down. As a result of those closings, the brunt of what needed service became on the police department. Okay, the police, call the police department for this, call the police department for that. Now, I will say, like I said, I don't think it's an indictment, but I will say this. Police departments are struggling as it is. And there's a lot of agencies who are not CALEA certified. And CALEA is the Commission on Accreditation of Law Enforcement. And so when you got a department that's CALEA certified, they have to follow policies and procedures that's standard across the board. And so when you take that money away from smaller departments who don't have the ability to pay you and train you, now you're putting officers, untrained officers that's gonna handle critical situations. And if you think the situation was bad before, the way they handled it before, just keep, by defunding some of these departments, these smaller departments, you're gonna have bigger issues because the training is gonna be insufficient, but yet still the calls are gonna be, you're gonna have a high number of calls that they're gonna be dealing with. And so, like I said, my personal opinion is let it play out. There's gonna be some casualties, unfortunately, but I just say let it play out, man. There's some agencies who are gonna unfortunately suffer, and as a part of that, that community is gonna suffer because the officers aren't gonna be trained to handle those situations.
With the whole defunding thing and disband and just get rid of the police, I feel like that could end up opening a box of worms that nobody wants because then you'll get special agency, like you said, you might get private agencies who come in and end up doing the policing who don't have to, it'll just be lawless and it'll be like just outlaws doing what they want to do to keep the order. So I think that when I heard that, I was like, I understand, like you said, like Officer Watson said, understand you hurting, but I feel like that's an emotional response right there. And I feel like with disbanding whole police divisions, it could open up, like I said, a box that nobody wants.
That is defunding. It's definitely it's just my opinion. It's definitely an emotional base. decision, and it's concerning. You're talking about disbanding an entire police department, for an example. And one of the issues that's close to my heart, and I know that we can all agree on it, is the victimization of our own communities. If there's no one there to protect my grandmother, your grandmother, when somebody kicks their door in, there's no one to respond to their call. How will we feel then? The same token, you don't want someone to respond and it make the situation worse. So there definitely, instead of defunding, there definitely needs to be more education, more oversight. Because what we have, as far as officers, we have different generations of individuals that are coming into law enforcement, and they're on different maturity levels. Some have served in the military, some have not served in the military. Some have life experiences, some have not. Some were bullied, some were not bullied. Some know how to communicate, some have no clue on how to communicate or to de-escalate a situation. So there's definitely needs to be more training and oversight, but to defund and then to bring in hopefully that doesn't happen, to bring in a contracting company that has no investment or interest in the community that they're supposed to be serving. They're just there to make a quick buck. They're going to shortchange the services in most communities, and most of those communities are probably going to be ours.
Absolutely.
Our community. That's we're gonna. Yeah, it's drawn. You know, and that's. We still got a ways to go. Oversight, training, more communication with the communities that we serve it's going to be a long way. It's not going to be an overnight thing, especially with everything that's been happening. And everything that's happening that has been brought into the news has been happening for years. It's been happening for years. It's just being filmed. It's being filmed. And it raises people emotions that we need to get rid of. Okay, that's the problem. We need to get rid of it. It's not necessarily the solution. We need to better train and better supervise and vet the people that we are giving the authority to take away people's freedom and take away people's liberty. There definitely needs a better investment process in that. Unfortunately, with smaller town agencies, I can only speak from experience. That ends up being, well, I know his cousin, so he's going to come work for my agency. And, kind of a small town agencies, but they definitely, like DC said, it definitely needs to be more oversight on who we're hiring and how we're training them to better serve our community. Because people need better service. They need better service. They need to know that when they get out their car in their front yard or go in their house, that they're going to be safe.
Hey, let me ask y'all this quick question. So we're talking about defunding, and I'm just thinking, in order to become a certified teacher, there's a lot of tests you have to take, and then you still have to go through evaluations once you get hired and get in your classroom. So my question for y'all, just a quick question. Do y'all really think it's just easy to become a cop? Because since, clearly, we talk about how we need good educators, we need good cops. Do y'all think that the hiring process is not strenuous enough? Do y'all think it should be more difficult, more rigorous, more background checks, more personality assessments, more scenario-based personality assessments, more partner training, evaluations? What do y'all think gonna make it better?
Well, my department, that's part of what I do in my new role as a special agent with the Division of Internal Investigation. I do background checks for the hiring process. And I would say for Illinois State Police, we are as stringent as the FBI. And as far as Illinois State Police training, there's 6 months of the academy, and I get even all state police officers get evaluated quarterly. And if you fail any one of those quarterly exams, you get remediated. If you can't pass, then you're terminated. And so there's quarterly training that is going on annually that you have to pass. So I know some agencies, their academy is only 12 weeks, 13 weeks. But as far as my agency, we do 6 months, and then we do quarterly training until you retire. So everything that you have, every piece of equipment that you have, you got to be proficient in it. And if you show any inefficiencies in that training or using that tool, one, the tool is taken away from you, and two, depending on what it is, then you will be remediated, and if you still can't pass, you'll be terminated. And so I often hear that officers aren't trained enough, and I just look and say thank you that my department is not one of the departments. Like, I don't even get offended when I hear that officers, because I know any person that went through what I went through that has Illinois State Police on their badge, I know what type of training they have. That's why it's so near and dear to my heart, because of the training that I put in, and I know what everybody else puts in. And I also know the background aspect of things, because that's what I do now, So I'm the guy dissecting your background, talk to your elementary school teachers, high school teachers, your college teachers, coaches, whomever, ex-girlfriends. And I know what goes into that. And it's very extensive in what we do.
Yeah, we have a very extensive program for our department as well, as far as the background checks. Definitely the training, more training. And I can't speak for other agencies, but training, it has to be continuous. It has to be continuous, the training. We can't approach it with agencies. They can't approach it with a check in the box and then we're done after the academy is done. But it has to be continuous training at all levels. And even before promotion, you're going to get promoted to corporal, well, you should meet certain criteria before you get to that point, and not just get a pass because, you got a pulse. But definitely more training, and evaluation is definitely the way to go. Right now, I think what we have in South Carolina is pretty good. It's very stringent. The training is constant. You constantly get reminders that you have to get training done. If you don't get it done, somebody will know that you did not get it done at your agency, and you will be contacted. Hey, why didn't this training get done? So I think we're going the right way about it. It's more training with the caliber of individuals that are being hired now. Helping them to. Some people are just not they're not good at communicating. Well, that's what we got to work with them and show them, hey, this is how you communicate with people and get them out there.
Awesome. All right, so we went a little bit over. So like I said, I want to be respectful of everybody's time, not only your time, but also the viewers. But before we close, I just want to give y'all both a minute to anything that you would like to share with the viewers, or I know Mr. Lofton is a great motivational speaker, so if you have a motivational moment that you want to share, y'all have 1 minute. So I'll give y'all both 1 minute.
Me personally, I just like to say thanks for everybody that tuned in. Thank you guys for hosting this and putting this on. I think we need to do more of this. I think we can reach a lot more people, especially during this COVID-19 via some type of medium, social media platform. I just say that anybody interested in becoming a police officer and getting the best training that I believe is on the planet, come join Illinois State Police. Yeah, you might have to leave the low country. Look, I did it. It's not that bad thing. You always come back to low country. We got the best training in the world. This job has done things for me that I couldn't even imagine. It's given me an ability to talk to you now. It's given me an ability to communicate to others in a better light, and it's given me an opportunity to be an example. And so, somebody watching this right now is in the same boat. You're in the low country, you want to get out, or you might be Piedmont, part of the state, up wherever, California. Come join Illinois State Police. You can apply now and be hired by 2021.
All right, so DC got a recruitment.
Yeah.
We got to get us on the job, brother. We got to get us on the job.
Yes, sir. Go ahead. All right, Thurman.
I thought I was the only one that caught that. As he was talking, I was like, dang, 61,000. Man.
Come on up. We got no age limit, no age restrictions.
that was good though. But now they treat me good here. Yes, as a motivational speaker, my heart's desire is to serve the community and to see people get better. I would, my minute, I would say I would want to encourage people. Number one, get out and vote. Research the people that you're voting for. If you want to see change, you gotta research the change and then vote for the change. You got to get to the polls and vote these people out of office. If you don't want to hear the crazy rhetoric that's coming across the media today, you got to vote them out of office. Two, I encourage you, especially for us the teachers that are on here, reach out to me if there's any way I can help you and your students. Just let me know. My heart's desire right now, Ty, is to help somehow raise the economic empowerment of our communities, so that we see more of us that are in political offices. We see more of us, not just in law enforcement, but we see more of us in positions of influence, such as teachers, politicians, city council, governors, state representatives. But it has to start with us reaching out to the next generation. There's one thing I've noticed is that it's good that we march peacefully, but we have to have a plan after we're done. After we're done with the marching, after we're done with the peaceful protest, then what? What's our plan of action after we're done with that? We wait for the next person's life to get taken away, like the soldier that was taken, the Hispanic female that was taken. Now we're protesting. What's the plan? And it's on us. It's on us that are listening, those that are participating, to give back to the communities and improve their political, their economic, and their social levels of wherever that they are. So I encourage you, if there's anything I could do to support your schools, your communities, please let me know. I'm all about helping people. My dad, rest in peace, I'm a preacher's kid. He was all about helping people, give his last dime to people, and my mom didn't like it too much. But he was all about helping people, and that's the way that I've always been. So if I can help in any way, this definitely needs to be a push to improve the economic condition of our people everywhere. So Motivation Moments with Thurman Lofton podcast, Facebook videos, 2 radio stations, 1 in English, 1 in Spanish. My Espanol is kind of broken, DC, but I got an interpreter that helps me out. But at the end of the day, it's all about just reaching out and just lifting people up, man. Because right now, people need help and they're hurting. And that's prayerfully with God's strength. That's what I'm going to do.
All right. So before we leave, Mr. Corey, Mr. Queen, anything y'all want to say before we leave?
Thank you, gentlemen. Thank you, gentlemen, for coming on. Really do appreciate it. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, thank y'all for coming on and sharing some light, and also answering our questions and being open and honest. You know, I think that, it's great to have law enforcement officers that are open and honest, and, that we can start to change the perception that all cops ain't bad. And, like when people say like F12, I really want people to stop saying that because of people like y'all. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So just thank y'all for coming out.
All right. So on behalf of Black Males Educate Intentional Talk, I want to say thank you to Officer Watson, Officer Lofton for joining us. I want to say thank you to our viewers. This is our second week, our second episode. So every week we're going to try to do things differently. We're going to have different topics, different people come on and join us and talk to us, share their thoughts and perspectives on situations that are occurring around the world. And like Officer Lofton said, this is definitely a time that we are hurting, and we really have to stop. We really have to stop dissecting everything that's Black. And what I mean by that is when we're talking about Black Lives Matter, we're talking about Black National Anthem now. Every time there's something Black in front of something, we take it the wrong way, or, some people want to rebel against it. So remember, Black is beautiful. And I'm going to say that all the time because I truly believe that Black is beautiful. And one thing I taught my mom the other day is my mom asked a question, and she said, why do we say that, you know, why do we say why some people are black and why do some people are white? And I said, and my mom, she was like, when you talk about skin color, why are we black and they white? And I told my mom straight up, I said, if you think about it, Mom, it's not about me being black or brown skin. It's not about that person being white. But if you open Webster's dictionary and you look at the definition of black, then everything black is evil or bad. Everything white, what is white? White is pure. So this is why they label black people as black. So this is why black people don't want to be called black. And this is why they state, oh, I'm African American, because black in a dictionary is everything bad, while white is everything pure. So with that being said, I want to thank y'all for joining us. I know, Thurman, if you need anything from us, please reach out. I'm willing to do anything. I'm sure my counterparts as well.
Thank you.
What I want to leave with you guys is that we are in the process of talking, along with the fourth person, our fourth co-host. We're actually looking at starting a charter school. And this is where, and I want to put that out there because I want everybody to know what we're doing. Because I believe that, you know, when we talk about charter schools were created for students to go to that school because they don't feel that public schools reach their full potential. So right now we're in the talks, we're sitting down, we're having these conversations about the next steps in starting a charter school, hopefully here in Beaufort. So with that being said, we'll be reaching out as well. So thank y'all for joining us, and we'll see y'all on the next episode of Black Males Educate Intentional Talk. Thank you guys.
Thank you. Peace.